because it's a gateway job, there's a lot of turnover, and we think these contestants can demonstrate what experience can do when you take this job and work at it and make it a passion early in your life. And I imagine the chance of winning a trip to Vegas would stoke that passion a little bit. That's one of the things that's at stake here today as we begin. We want to thank our major sponsor, Central Paper Products, Matt Gaforia. I don't think Matt's here today, but he's always a great champion for the New Hampshire Food Bank. The check presentation sponsor today, and we're going to do that in the middle of the program, so St. Mary's Bank gets its due recognition. Judy Window is here from St. Mary's Bank. The product sponsors today, AG New England, Sully's Stores. If you've never been to Goffstown Center, Sully's is a reason to go. Jerry's Variety, Hannaford Supermarkets, Market Basket, and Shaw's Supermarket. At this point, we want to thank the crew from the New Hampshire Food Bank for hosting this event. We got into the warehouse this year. Last year, we were in a much smaller, much warmer room, so enjoy the luxurious surroundings we have today. And the boss is Bob Gossett. Bob, would you like to come up and say a few words, please? Bob's the acting director of the New Hampshire Food Bank, the enterprise that serves thousands and thousands and thousands who would otherwise go without meals.
Thank you, John. My name is Bob Gossett. I am the interim director of the Food Bank. I've been doing this for the last 3 months. I'd like to recognize first the mayor. Thank you very much for your support. We have a resolution that he presented to me 2 weeks ago, and we're very proud of receiving that and of your support, so thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank all of the other organizations that are here from the Grocery Association and for the other supporters. It's a big event for us. We were happy to host it. I also like to thank John. John is on our advisory committee for the food bank, and he has been giving me much good counsel for these last 3 months, so a sincere thank you, John. And the last thing I would like to say is why the food bank is here. And unfortunately, this is a good, fun time event. The food bank couldn't do what it does if it did not have the support of all the grocery stores and the other supporters that we have throughout the state. The last number is a little sobering. Feeding America tells us that today there's 139,730 people in New Hampshire that are hungry, or they don't know where their next meal is coming, or the art word is food insecure. It's just a terrible number, and Food Bank is doing everything with your kind of support to do something about it. Maybe as a new grandfather, the number that's most compelling to me is that 42,000 of that 139,000 are children. It's just unconscionable to me. Like, we're doing what we can with the support from people like you and the 400 agencies that we interact with. We're doing what we can to feed the people that need it most in New Hampshire. So thank you all very much for that. Welcome to our home. This is where we get it done. And one last aside, I've told a few people that my first job when I turned 14 into 15, on my birthday, the next day, my father said, get working papers, and my first job was aisle 7 at the Waldbaum Supermarket in East Islip, New York. And I was a bagger, and so I can empathize with what's going on up here. So I can, best of luck to all of them. So John, thank you.
Thank you, John. Au revoir. At this point, our sponsor for this event, the New Hampshire Grocers Association, President and CEO, John Dumas. John?
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I can't thank John Clayton enough for this. He's got a very busy schedule. He's got quite an opportunity to go down to the Historic Association and see everything about Manchester, and I'd encourage you all to do that going forward as much as possible. Before we go much further with this, I also have a very special guest here that we'd like to thank for coming to us, Mayor of Manchester, Ted Gatzis. Ted, if you could come forward and maybe say a few words to us. It's really special for a lot of reasons, and part of the reasons is that he was a judge for the bagging contest 2 years ago when we did this, and we showered our blessings on him at that time, more ways than one. And since then, we're not using the paper bags anymore. We'll talk about that as well. But Mayor Gatsby has always been a great friend of ours. He's always been great for the community of Manchester, and we thank you for all you do for businesses in the state. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Well, it's great to be here, and I noticed that there wasn't any liters of Coke on the tables, and we didn't have paper bags, and John didn't have a knife that he was going to cut the paper bags with, and I would get showered with the Coke. So I can tell you I'm glad to see that we're now using new cloth bags, which is good. And certainly to everybody that's here to participate, I wish you the best of luck. Vegas is waiting for you. I know that you're going to do a great job and certainly represent your markets well. So I can tell you that without any further ado, we should get started, because I know that plane's waiting for you to get you out to Vegas. So again, thanks a lot, John. Nice having you here, and certainly it's a fun time, and we shouldn't forget that it's all about fun. John, thanks a lot for having me, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Let's give him a big hand. There you go. We also have another very special guest with us today. If you were here last year, you saw her here. She was in the competition. She won the state competition. Did a great job with that, and we took her to Vegas. And so we'd like to ask Gabrielle Casey to come forward and just say a few words. Gabrielle, good to see you again. Hopefully you can tell us a little bit about your competition last year, give our contestants this year a little bit of insight as to what they need to be going for this time, and then a little bit about your experience in Vegas and what that was all about.
I'm really excited to see you guys all compete. It's actually a lot of fun. My experience last year, I was honestly kind of nervous about doing the whole thing, but honestly you just can't forget that you do this as a job. It's pretty regular that you're bagging groceries for people. My biggest advice is just to breathe and just take a second to not get too flustered about it, because honestly getting the groceries organized is a little bit more important than speed, although there are a lot of factors involved, just speed, getting both the even weight distribution and the organizing the bag. So yeah, I'm just excited to see it all again. It's actually really exciting and fun. A lot of energy in the room. It's a nice open area this year, so you can actually breathe. And it's exciting, the motivation to be able to go to Vegas too. That was a lot of fun. Honestly, the national competition is really cool. I got to meet people from all different states, from all different kinds of grocery stores. So it's a really nice experience. I'm really excited to see all you guys.
You want to. We'll make sure this bagger has enough bags though too, so we won't get away from that. We have some other surprises coming later on, some other special guests, but we want to move on and make sure that we keep everything on track here for time goes. And first thing I'd like to do is introduce the judges we have with us this afternoon. Bob Savory from Sprague Electric Energy. They run an energy discount program through NHGA and has been very good for a number of years. And so we thank Bob for being here for that. Kelly Jane Cleland from the New Hampshire Lottery, Director of Sales, and I think all of you use lottery, right, in your stores, so we're glad to have her here with us today. And then Judy Window from St. Mary's Bank will be our third judge. Judy was here last year, so she's already a pro in how this is all done going forward. I wanted to take just a second and explain a little bit about the procedure, what's going on, and what's changed. Mayor mentioned a little bit earlier about the things that have changed a little bit. For the last few years, we've been doing the paper bags because traditionally we've had the bags always done that way. And it gives us an opportunity to take open the bag and see the inside of the bag and how it's constructed all the way through. That's very important. The contest has changed a little bit. They've asked us to use the canvas bags from now on because they do that in the national competition as well. And so this is more consistent with what you'd see it in the Las Vegas program. The second item is that because they're smaller bags, rather than just having the 2 bags, now you're going to be able to distribute between 3 bags. One of the criteria that we're going to be looking at, let me go through all the criteria, I guess. First one is we're going to look at your appearance and presentation when you come up. The judge is going to be looking at how you're setting things up. It's not a beauty contest, but it is something how presentable you are to the consumers. And so we want to see how you handle yourselves coming up here. John Clayton will be interviewing you very briefly a little bit, so that might add a little bit more to that as well. The contest will begin when everybody's ready. You'll be able to open the bags up and make sure that they open properly, but then you have to leave them flat again. You can turn them sideways if you want to turn them sideways or not. That's your decision, but basically they have to stay flat. When you bag, you're going to be bagging, we'll have a whistle to blow, and when the whistle's blown, then you start bagging up. Your job as the audience is to cheer on all of the contestants who are up here. Even if your team player is not here right now, you want to give the momentum for everybody going forward. And usually there'll be someone who's a little bit ahead of the others. You want to keep the cheering up until the last one gets the recognition for it as well, that they've all gone through the contest. So we need a lot of energy, a lot of signs, a lot of cheering. We're going to have an area where you can come over here and you can stand over here as a team if you want to cheer someone on. But you need to stay behind the first row and over in the corner would be okay. Other than that, you're going to be in the way. We have Bob Malloy from Malloy Video, who's going to be videoing that. Tapes of that are going to be available afterwards as well. So we have to make sure that we can see everything that's going on with it. As soon as the program starts, the race is going to take about 90 seconds or so. It's not very long. It's a very fast-paced program. As soon as you're done as the bagger, you have to raise your hands over your head. And that's very important. If you think you're all done, you say, okay, I guess I'm there. It's not going to work. You have to actually signal to the timekeeper that you're finished your competition. At that point, we will remove the bags and we'll take them over to the side with the judges. The judges will put them on scales. We're going to be looking for equal distribution of weight between the bags, how close they are to being equally in thirds, basically with 3 bags now. And the closer it is, the more points you get for that. They've changed some of the rating scales on it. Speed is not as important as it was before. A lot of people took a lot of emphasis on the speed of the packaging, and sometimes it's not always the best. It's also the integrity of the bag. So they've changed some of the rating scales in there that makes it a little more fair for someone who maybe didn't bag as quite as fast. But speed is still not important. You'll see us, we'll be taking something out of the bag, the top layer of the bag. We'll be looking at what we see on the top level, and then we'll drill down a little bit and see what's in the bottom level of the bag, just to say what the integrity is. Now, we have 3 judges. The 3 judges have independent decision making. Some are hard markers, like your school teachers. Some are hard markers, some are easy markers. My job is to sort of just tell them what we see, what we're looking for in there. And so they'll go through that whole process. And then from that point on, we'll get ready. John will call up the next set of contestants, and we'll go through the process again. We'll do that 3 times, go through the whole process with an intermission. I think after the second race, we have a little bit of a program going on there. And then we'll come back and we'll do the finalists. The finalists will come back up here for the final race, and when that's all done, we'll announce who they are and we'll go forward. For those who aren't familiar with it, the race is also changed on the award program. Like last year, the contestant who wins the state competition gets a free trip to Las Vegas, hotel and airfare, to go up to the contest. When they're there, they'll be competing against other states, and the winners from that, in the past it's been one major winner is $10,000. That hasn't changed. There's a second place one and a third place. Well, they've changed it a little differently because they used to take them to New York City afterwards to be on the David Letterman show. And David Letterman's now retired, so that doesn't work. So what they did is decide to take the money they would have spent on that and give it to more contestants. So now it's the first 5 place winners will receive a cash award. And so that's a kind of nice little added benefit to that. So with that, I think we're all set, John, if you want to talk about the first round of contestants.
Yeah, we're going to get that first round of contestants. We should mention that Gabrielle, who I got the pleasure of hugging last year when she won, works at Fiddlehead Farms, and Fiddlehead Farms is represented again in the competition today. So we want to acknowledge all of those stores who've been good enough to let their workers come and take part in this competition. Thank you for that. Round 1. Speaking of Fiddlehead Farms, Kyle Upton. Round 1. From Hannaford's, Emily LeClaire. From Shaw's Supermarket, Josh Satterley. And in lane 4, John Donahue from Harvest Market. With that, you each have a timer. Don't forget John's instruction. When you're done, put your hands over your head so we can get that underway. And with timers, are you ready? Judges are prepared. Do you want to let them open a bag for a second? One bag? Yes. Just open up just to punch it out and then lay it down again. Yep. And later on today, we're not using flat bottom paper bags for the first time in this competition. I'll tell you a little bit about why the flat bottom paper bag is such an important part of Manchester's history. I'm waiting. Are we all set? Contestants, you good? Who's got the whistle? 3, 2, 1, go! Judges get ready, they're going to take your packages and inspect them for the integrity of your packing as well as whether those chips are intact. Oh yeah, Pringles, it was easy for you this year. I'm going to ask you all a couple of questions. John?
Hello.
Hello. Did you approach this with a strategy when you first looked at what you had in front of you?
Kind of.
Tell us, what are the basic rules of bagging?
Well, basically, you can't have anything on the bottom that would break very easily. If you put some heavy on top, it wouldn't be good for the customer. So I tried my best to put the heaviest on the bottom first. It also helps with putting like bigger, lighter stuff like that right low towards the top. It actually helps in space too.
Were you able to appreciate what your fellow contestants were doing, or you had your back to them, right?
Yeah, it did. It looked like 1 second. It was like bad.
How about the crowd? Did that help you at all?
Yeah, it actually did. Like, you know, background noise, I guess.
Just like at work, right?
Yeah.
You're always the people screaming in the store. Thanks so much. Good luck. Okay, Josh. Same basic question for you. Did you rehearse for this at work? Did they let you practice?
I had a lot more practice. Well, more of a practice for district competition, state competition. This one we kind of just did district competition and kind of just thrown into this one. So, yeah. So.
How much notice did you have before coming here?
Oh, I had a lot of notes. I had a couple months, but I didn't really feel a need to practice necessarily. So I went all right. That's right.
Just go to work. That's all. Okay. Well done. Congratulations. Which Hannaford do you work at?
Key.
Oh, so this is a road game for you. This is not a home game.
Yeah. This is the third trip that
So you had about an hour riding over from Keene to get here. What kind of thoughts were going through your mind on the ride?
Well, at first I was like a little nervous and scared, but then the manager I drove over with and one of my coworkers reassured me that I do it every day, and that I can do it.
So what was it like in school today? Thinking about it?
Actually, I graduated from high school 2 years ago, and have been working for Hannaford ever since.
Well, I'll talk to my Manchester Hannaford store manager and tell him how badly he should get someone like you on staff in Manchester. Nice try. Kyle, good job. How about the crowd staying with you all the way through?
It was great. I really enjoyed their energy and made me feel more confident.
Now, you're coming from a championship store. Was Gabrielle of any use to you whatsoever as you prepared for this?
She gave me some pretty good advice that I kind of used, and was just, yeah, she gives advice.
She rocked it last year, just so you know, all 3 rounds. So congratulations and welcome back, Gabrielle. We also have a winner from 1999, just to give you a sense of how long this competition has been going on. We asked Bob Malloy and John Dumais, we were talking together earlier, and they know that this gentleman came from 1999, but they believe the contest goes back into the 80s. So it's almost 3 decades in which this competition has been taking place. That 1999 winner is Chris Maynard. Chris, can you come up here for a minute? Thanks for coming back. You're a past champion. You just got to see the first round. How do you think these guys did?
They did good. Yeah, it's nervous. You just get to sit there, relax, read them, and just bag.
Just bag. They had used the new recyclable bags. You would have worked with paper bags. I would think that would be a little more dangerous working with paper.
It's also hot if you used to bag it all in like 2 paper bags. So now you have like 3 reusable recyclable bags. And I didn't have to do that till I got to Vegas. Plus, I also had the bag in plastic bags. So it's like they had 2 paper, and you had bag and 3 plastic and balance them out.
I'll ask the question that they always ask me. Paper or plastic? What do you prefer?
Recyclable.
And these are beautiful New Hampshire Grocers Association bags that they'll be taking home. So congratulations on your record. What was your favorite part about going to Vegas? This is a family audience, bear in mind.
The experience. Get to know people and everything. Going out there and having fun.
Again, Chris Maynard, congratulations. Great to have you back here. So I mentioned the historic significance of paper bags and Manchester. We're not using them this year for the first time, but you should know that the flat bottom paper bag, you all know what it's like, right? Was invented by a young lady from Manchester. Her name was Margaret Knight, and she worked in the Manchester's mill yard at the Amoskeag Manufacturing Company. She invented the patent for the flat bottom paper bag, and 2 gentlemen tried to steal the patent from her. This was in 1887. So Margaret Knight, Maggie, as she was known, went to court and actually won the court battle and reserved the patent for the flat bottom paper bag in her name. She invented the machine that did all the folding and the gluing so the bags would be intact. And those of you who've ever taken a paper bag home only to have the bottom fall out should know how important it was that the integrity of that bag be kept. And so Margaret Knight is the young lady who invented the flat bottom paper bag from Manchester. This is why I run the Manchester Historic Association, because I know this stuff. She also invented a device that was critical to worker health in the Amoskeag mills. When the looms would create fabric, the basic operating piece was a shuttle. It was a steel-tipped device that would go back and forth across the cloth and put the threads through. And these were very prone to flying off the looms when they were working at high speed. Margaret Knight actually invented a device that prevented those steel-tipped shuttles from flying around the room. You probably would not want to have been standing there making cotton when the steel shuttles are flying around. So a great contributor to worker safety. Before she retired, she had 87 patents. This young lady who started working at the Amoskeag mills at the age of 12 became known as the female Thomas Edison. So all the credit to Margaret Knight. Even though we're not using her product anymore, it was still a great contribution to society at large, for those of you who like flat bottom paper bags. These contestants are nervous and awaiting the results of the judging. As John indicated, in past years, they were able to take a box cutter or a fine knife to shave the edge of the bag to allow them to inspect the content and the integrity of the packing. This year, again, it's a little bit different. We're catching up with the industry by using the recyclable bags. And I'm sure that's making the judging process a little bit longer than it might have been otherwise. So we thank you for your patience. We're also going to ask you to save some energy. There's another round coming up. You're going to have to be screaming and cheering again. We have 3 heats this year, and then the winners of those 3 individual heats will be invited to come back for the 4th and final round. So know that. Future contestants, anybody got butterflies? Nerves? You didn't have to go first. That's the key. You didn't have to go first. So they're still comparing. You all right, Josh? You can make it? John's the epitome of calm over there. Emily, you're still hanging in. You're a pro, I can tell. 2 years in. Is this something you would consider staying in the grocery industry, not necessarily as a bagger? Is that something you'd consider?
Yes, I absolutely love my job and what I do every day.
Is there a particular job you would aspire to? Maybe we can drop notes to your manager?
I haven't thought about it that in depth, but I definitely want to stay like out in this industry and maybe even with the company.
Very good, very good. Josh, same question to you. What do you think? Is this a stepping stone for you? We call it a gateway job or an entry-level job?
So I've done a lot of work since I've been 16. I've worked at Shaw, so about 2.5 years now. But I don't know if I'm going to technically continue my career inside grocery stores. I mean, I'm science oriented, so I hope to either move to a different field eventually as well.
Always the front office, right? Very good. How about you, John? You in Bedford's Harvest Market? Very good. I love that store.
Me too.
My wife sells wine and spirits, and she and Ed Murphy are spending way too much time together. So that just gave me the thumbs up. How about you? Plans, school, work, military? What do you got?
Well, I plan on, I guess, going into writing in the future. I like writing a lot, and I like writing stories personally. It's really fun.
Well, having written for the union leader for 27 years, I can tell you it's a nice way to make a living. There's no heavy lifting involved, unless you buy a really big computer, and then you have to lift that. So, you know that. What kind of writing do you like?
I've been going around in like creative or experimental writing recently, and I'm still going through that. I'm taking 2 writing classes for my senior year right now. Yeah.
Very good. So what do you think about these contestants, folks? I'm thinking at this point, oh, you just want to go sit down.
Kind of, yeah.
The anticipation of the score, do you think they're dragging their feet on purpose to increase the drama?
Maybe, but beginning.
That's the key. And do remember that speed is not the ultimate factor, as John explained earlier. A lot of it has to do with the integrity of the package that you put together. Part of it, again, is heavier stuff on the bottom. You have a lot of glass products. How do you deal with that, Kyle, if you don't have, the paper bags to wrap around them when you pack them? How do you deal with glass?
Sometimes I just put them on the bottom, like make it so that all the other stuff can fit around it, and making sure that they don't fall through the bags and break.
See, it's hard, Tom, because oftentimes I go through the self-service aisle and I bag my own groceries, and believe me, there's no science to my bagging. If I can get it all in one, I get it in one. If I have to go to a second, that's another issue altogether. So we really appreciate the care and the expertise that you guys bring to this competition. I think each of us now, the next time we go to the grocery store, will pay a little bit more attention to the way the material is being put together. Are we ready, John? Yeah, we're going to have the next group come up. You're welcome to go take that seat, Kyle. Okay, for the second round, in lane number 1, Nahada Leach. In lane 2, I should mention that Nahada is also from Market Basket. Yes, and Fiddlehead Farms, Roger Gosling is our second contestant. Roger's an old hand at this, is he not? Was he here with us last year, Gabrielle? He was, okay. He's a veteran, so watch out for him. Yes, and in lane 3, from Sully Superette, Adam Boston. I'm looking for our timers. I'm looking at my judges. And I'm looking for John with the gold whistle. And we will go in. Do we want them to have the opportunity to open a bag as the others did? If you want to fluff up a couple bags just to get them loose for you, make sure the bottom